Well, hello guys, how are you doing? I trust you're doing good. Today we are going to learn about the power sequence in a laptop motherboard. That is, how the power enters into the motherboard all the way from the charging adapter or the power adapter up to the CPU. Alright? Okay, let's go just directly into the point. For us to understand, I believe I'll start with the theory part, then we can see from the motherboard, right? So the first thing you need to know, how is the power enters into the motherboard. So we have a power adapter. Let's assume you've plugged in your power adapter all the way from here. I believe you can see my drawings. So this is the power adapter. Once the power adapter, and the power adapter supplies about a 19 voltage into the motherboard. Then you have the DC jack, that is the power port. Let's call it DC in. There you have the DC in. After the DC in, you have the first component which receives the power from the motherboard. In case of HP laptops or Dell laptops, you find what's called the power inductor, where we call it PL1. So you might find in some other motherboards they have written PL. L stand for inductor, but P is for power. So if you see something PL, written PL, and then it follows with a number or numbers, so it means that's a power inductor, right? Yes. If it is written just L, it means that is an inductor. For other laptops like Lenovo's, you find Lenovo's they are using what's called the PF for power fuse, right? Yes, PF for fuse, F for fuse, right? So you have the first component that receives the power, that's the power inductor. Then after the power inductor, you have the first MOSFET. The first component other than the inductor is what's called the power switch. These MOSFETs, they are called switch. It switches power from this point to the other point, right? Yes, and these components are called MOSFETs. Yes, MOSFET in full, you have MOSFETs. These are MOSFETs. MOSFET stand for metallic oxide semiconductor field effect transistor or transistors, right? Yes, so this component they write it as PQ. Yes, for power MOSFET. So just Q stands for a MOSFET, right? Yes, after this power, let's call it power MOSFET Q1, PQ1. Then after here you will find another MOSFET, we call it MOSFET 2. This is now PQ2 because already we have PQ1 here. Then after here we will have the another component here, we call it the current sense resistor. They write this as PR. Let's call it PR1 because this is the first resistor in the laptop motherboard, right? Yes, from here at MOSFET 1 there is a signals going into the power IC, which is called the BQ. This is normally the charging IC. So when you hear about the charging IC, this is the IC we talked about. This IC it's called the BQ. And then you have the most common ones are PQ24780S. Those PQs are very common, I don't know why. You have several other PQs. You have PQ25700S. Mostly that one is found in Lenovo's motherboard. You have PQ737. Some HPs, Avid, Hazer laptops. Even this one PQ24780S, you find it in so many laptops, right? Yes, this is called the charging IC. And this IC is responsible for controlling this phase of the power supply, right? Yes. So you have the signal. The signal is generated all using this part of this MOSFET. Then you have another signal line here, and these signal lines we call it the gates. All right. Yes. A MOSFET is a switch. However, despite being a switch, it has three sections. So this is the MOSFET. So this section of the MOSFET, it has 4 pins, and these 4 pins are all connected together. That's why I put it this way. They're all connected together. And then the other side of the BQ, the other side of that MOSFET, we have 3 pins connected together that way. You see, I have connected it together. Then you have this other pin, the 4th pin, is not connected to the 3, so it is independent. It is independent pin, right? Yes. Then the name of this, the 4 pins which are connected together, we call it drain. So I can write the D for drain, so we call it drain. And then the 3 pins which are connected together, we call it source. So this is source. And then the independent pin, we call it gate. And this gate is responsible for sending the signals into the BQ, right? So whenever the power enters here, reaches here, you know, once you plug in your adapter, this is a port. The port allows power to pass through into the motherboard. So this is the motherboard. Then the first component to receive that power is power inductor. This is just a wire connecting here to the other side. So this is just a wire. This is a continuous wire. That power passes through until it reaches the first drain, this side of this MOSFET. Let's call point, let's call this point, this is the drain. So once it reaches here, this IC, the charging IC, gets the signals that the voltage has already arrived at this side of this MOSFET. Then this same IC, we call it the charging IC, the BQ, gives instruction to this MOSFET to switch that power into the other side of the MOSFET, into the source now. So once the voltage, so this is 19 voltage, it has arrived here, it is switched to this other side. Then once it is switched this way, so meaning here we are supposed to have 19 voltage, then past here, that same voltage, what's happening is exactly what happened here. Once the voltage arrives here, same the charging IC gets the signals from this MOSFET, we call it MOSFET 2. Then this IC gives instruction to this MOSFET to forward that same 19 voltage to the other side. So here still we expect to find 19 voltages. So that 19 voltages is passed on to the power resistor, and this current sense resistor now allows that power to pass through. So past here we expect that voltage to go into the motherboard, right? Yes. So you need the work of this current sense resistor is to ensure that the correct amount of current required in the motherboard is passed through here. In case there's excess, this current sense resistor limits that power. So in short, the work of this is to limit power going past here, right? Yes. So let's come back again a little bit here. So once there is voltage here, this 19 is passed into the other side of this MOSFET. That's why this side we call it the drain, because these are the 4 pins which are connected together, because already we have the gate here. This is the gate going into this IC. So what is happening here at this MOSFET, once 19 is here, this one gets the signal there is 19, and then it gives instruction that 19 to be forwarded into the motherboard. In addition to that, this IC still instructs this MOSFET to step up this power from 19 to 25 to 25.0 voltage, or sometimes you can find this 24.8 or 0.9 voltage, and that voltages is given into this IC. So it passed through this gate of MOSFET 2. So here we should have 25 voltage, and that voltage, that 25 voltage, is now the voltage which can be used to charge the battery, right? Yes, that's why this IC gets the name charging IC. So you can find it is called charging IC. Charging IC, right? Yes, I believe my handwriting is visible enough. So this is the charging IC. So it is called charging IC because it ensures that there is enough voltage here to be used to charge the motherboard or to charge the battery, right? Yes, I believe you've got the how or what are the, so the entire of this phase. Actually, I wanted to tell you that. So this all the way from the charging adapter. So here we have the charging adapter. This is called the charging adapter or the power adapter. So all the way from here, from the power adapter to here, current sense resistor, all of that we call it phase 1. So this is the first phase of power supply and it is called phase 1, right? So we'll be having phase 2 and I'll discuss with you that phase 2, but for now I want you to understand what is happening in phase 1. So we said in phase 1 we will get the voltage for charging, right? And again in phase 1 we have a special kind of IC, this one we call the charging IC. Ignore this one because we have several charging IC. So this IC they normally use the BQ IC in most laptops, especially the HPs. That's the for lower generation, for generation 1, 2, 3. But from generation 5 they'll be using a different IC called the intersil. Yes, and they abbreviate it as ISL. So this is intersil IC. So this one you will find it in most of the high generation laptops, this intersil. But for now we'll focus on the BQ. So here at the gate of MOSFET 1 we'll be getting around 6 voltage. We'll be getting like 6 voltage there or 5. This voltage is now what is called the charging ID, right? So for this one we will be getting charging ID. What does that mean? This voltage is responsible for identifying the charger, right? The adapter. So for this IC to operate well, it must identify or it must recognize the adapter you are using. So meaning the gate of this MOSFET should be operational for this IC to recognize that adapter and allow it to be used, right? Yes, so that is it about the phase 1 of the power supply. So let's discuss it. Then past year we shall be having so after here let's assume, so this is from phase 1, from phase 1, sorry, from phase 1. So after here, so we will get the power supply. So meaning here we will be having that current sense resistor, let's call it PR1. Past there we will get another voltage coming from the battery, let's call it positive bath for battery. So in case you have a battery, you will be having a power being supplied after current sense resistor. So from here it goes into the motherboard. Then you will be having now the other voltages. We normally call it secondary voltages because those are the voltages which are there after phase 1, right? Or we call it in general, let's say phase 2. Let's call it phase 2 of the power supply. So in phase 2 of power supply we'll be having two common voltages, that is a circuit which has 3.3 voltage and a twin circuit which has 5.0 voltages, right? Yes, other than that voltage, still you have the main power line running that way. Then you will be having the power supply into the CPU. So we'll be having a circuit supplying the CPU. For the laptops which has the GPU, still you'll get another circuit supplying the GPU. Still, in case you have separate PCH, you'll also have the PCH power supply. Apart from the PCH power supply, you will be having also what's called the RAM power supply. So you see, Once the power is applied in the motherboard, it starts now branching. You will be having the 3.3, 5.0 power supply, the CPU power supply, GPU power supply, PCH power supply, and the RAM power supply, and any other power supply required in the motherboard, right? Yes. So let's try to identify this phase 1 power supply in a laptop motherboard. So here with me, I have a certain old motherboard. So this is the motherboard. I believe this is for Lenovo. Yes, this is the old motherboard. So never mind, we are just using it for discussion, right? Yes, just give me a minute. Right, so this is the motherboard, and here in the motherboard I have the power port. This is the power port. Yes, the power port should have been inserted here. Then from the power port, sorry for that. So from the power port here, I don't know whether you can see it. So this is the port I'm talking about. Then here you have a component written PL1. So this PL1, this is the power inductor, and then you have PL2. So meaning this motherboard has two inductors. So they have twin inductors. So they do the same work. So after here, you find the first MOSFET. So this is what called MOSFET 1. You see, it is written BQ101. I don't know whether you can see it. So this PQ101. Apart from MOSFET 1, you will be having a PQ103. So this is the MOSFET 2. Then here you have the PR103. So this is now the power resistor. Then past here it will goes into the motherboard, right? Yes. Someone is asking me where is the charging IC. So I believe the charging IC, because I am not seeing it at this side, it is not this one. Why? Because I can see, yeah, maybe it's this one, because I can see this is power IC. This is written PU101. This is PU101. So I don't know whether it is in the other side of this board. No, this not. So meaning our charging IC is this one. So this is our charging IC. So this is the battery circuit or the charging circuit. So this charging IC BQ is now responsible for driving power all the way from here up to past this current sense resistor, right? Yes. So guys, that's all about today. I believe at least you've known something, you've understood something small. In case you have any question, feel free to text it in comment section, then I'll answer your question, or even I might hope to make a video answering your question, right? So guys, thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you for being patient, and please subscribe to this channel and share with your friends. Bye bye, see you in the next video.